Hey, welcome to EXSIN Live. It is Wednesday. We're a couple minutes early, but we're early for a reason. We're going to talk about something that's near and dear to our heart, and it's development of your team and the importance of developing your team for the positions you want them to work. Again, this is Leadership 101, folks. If you're not doing this, you're not building it, then you are not going to have a massive team, and you're going to lose people because people want to be poured into. They want to be developed.
Yeah, people, there's all this talk about people quietly quitting, quietly doing this, quietly doing that. The organizations that we see that aren't having these struggles are ones where employees have a clear vision of what they need to do to continue to grow within the organization.
They have a path to success, right?
Correct.
They know they're not going to be stuck in the same job. So if they put the work in and do what's asked of them, right? Correct. So what's the first thing that happens when you don't develop leaders in your organization? You lose productivity. 100%
every time. I mean, and we've talked about this ad nauseum over the years, but there's a void in creating simple, executable development plans. And I think a lot of times people even think development plans must be something wrong. No, this is normal. This is normal. This is to help people grow professionally, personally, to get better. So that they can be better, more productive employees.
Well, you define the standard for the current job they're in. You set expectations and you give them performance reviews on a regular basis about how they're doing and they're not doing. And if you want to develop leaders who are productive in your organization at every level, give them opportunities to excel. More importantly, give them opportunities to make mistakes and learn from it and grow from it. My biggest frustration in life as a leader was when people would come in and ask me how to do something all the time. Yeah. Right. You give an opportunity and you say, go do, and they go, well, how do you do this? How do you do this? Well, if I need to tell you that, then I failed training you, A, and B, I'll just do it myself.
Right.
So as the employee, when you're given that opportunity, be ready to ask the right questions when they give you the initial responsibility. What's your expectation? Do you have any tips or tricks we can do? And then develop your own path to success to show what you can do. The best part about that is you're going to scuff your knees a little bit and fail, and you're going to learn from it, and you're going to be developing along the way.
Well, and that's the key,
right?
The developing along the way. I've always said this. Dave's heard me say this a million times. Everything I've ever gotten better at, there was a little bit of pain involved.
100%.
There's a little bit of pain involved. It doesn't have to be drudgery. You don't have to be miserable, but it comes at a price. None of us are special. If you want better outcomes, you're going to have to put in the work. But that for a leader, that means creating a culture and creating opportunities and a clear path for those people to put in the work. You have to do your part.
And that's funny you said put in the work, because if you want to run a 4-minute mile, you can't sit on the couch every day, eating cookies and drinking hot chocolate. I mean,
I've tried.
Now it's a lot easier to do that, and it probably feels a lot better sometimes until you wake up, look in the mirror, and you get old.
Yeah, boy.
But look, if you want to be successful, then you've got to do the little things along the way to get there. And as a leader, you have to hold your people accountable to that.
I saw a guy the other day on some podcast. He was a guest. I don't remember the gentleman's name, but I will go back and get it because this guy was really sharp. He goes, listen. He goes, I know this guy's 6'3", 200 pounds, chiseled. Just real successful guy. He says, listen, he goes, I wake every day and I want to drink beer, watch TV, and eat cheeseburgers. That's what I want to do. It's not what I do. He said, but that's what I want to do. He goes, those are, he said, that's fun.
I mean, there's a time to have a cheeseburger every now and then.
There is, and there's a time to have a cold beer. There's a time to watch TV. But he says, in my being, that's what I'd like to do every day, all day. Just sit around, eat cheeseburgers, drink beer, and watch TV. I mean, there's no stress to my body. There's no stress to my mind. He said, but what happens, you do that long enough, you wake up, your body doesn't work, your mind doesn't work, nothing works.
You're a cheeseburger and a beer.
You're a cheeseburger and a beer, and you're watching sitcoms from 1998.
You have effectively become Homer Simpson.
Yes. I just had a realization. I may be Homer Simpson.
Lord help us all. So the next thing that happens when you don't pour into your people and build a leadership development plan is people stop showing up for work because they're looking for something else. I mean, how many of you in your office have walked into somebody's office or they're at their computer and they change the browser because they're looking for a job?
Yep.
Or they're shopping on Amazon Prime Day or whatever. It's not work, right?
Yep.
We've all been there. We've all seen that happen. And that's on us as leaders because they're not engaged in the company anymore. They're losing interest.
If you've lost, if you have employees that are doing those things, don't get mad at them. Figure out what inside the organization has created this culture, this mindset to where they feel this way. Now, I'm not saying there's not employees out there that are going to struggle regardless of what you do. There's no Pollyanna here. There's no perfect scenario. But what great cultures do is they kind of self-eliminate from those cultures because they realize they don't fit. And there's less damage. There's less collateral damage to an organization when you've created those cultures. So, but your first reaction shouldn't be, I'm furious, I'm mad. Why are they doing that? No, you need to step back and say, okay, what's created this?
What have I done to create this environment? Because if one person is doing it, there's probably 2 or 3 people doing it, and you just haven't caught them yet.
Yeah, there's others.
Right? And it's not catching, it's knowing what's going on in your organization. So if you're sitting behind your desk on your computer all day long,
you just haven't seen it. You're
not seeing what's going on.
Yeah.
And the next thing that happens is you obviously get low morale. That's why people are not coming to work, and that's why people are looking for another job. The best thing you can do to improve morale in an organization is set a mission, vision, and guidelines for people to follow, and then empower them and cheer them on to go do great stuff. There's a lot of companies that have younger folks under employment right now, and all of us go through that stage where you're bringing in new employees all the time. I'm going to ask you this: what are you doing to develop that young person? Because everybody wants to be the boss.
Yeah.
No matter what age they are, they want to be the boss, and they need to understand the process to get there. And what we're seeing a lot of is people walk in and go, "I want to be the boss."
Yeah.
25 years old, I want to be the boss.
Yeah.
And then the 50-something-year-old like us goes, "Whatever."
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Nice. I want to be the boss too, but
or you get if you're a Southern person, you say, "Well, bless your heart."
Exactly. If you have those people that are motivated to be successful, give them opportunities to excel.
Yeah.
Be there for them. Serve as a mentor for them. Grow them, because Phil and I are the same people we were when we were 23 to 24.
Thank
right?
God.
I mean, ready, fire, aim was me in my 20s. And it almost cost me a lot of
not me, Dave. I was very thoughtful.
Yeah. I tried to be, but I was,
Well, it didn't come natural. When you're 23, 24, 25, 30, people get there at different times. And again, broad brush. I mean, there are exceptions to everything, but they're rare. Most folks let me back up. If you have somebody like that's a younger person to the organization, they don't have a lot of life experience yet, but they're super talented, they're super ambitious, they're all these things. Man, what a wonderful type of employee to have.
You're blessed.
You are blessed.
Absolutely.
You can work with that. You can mold that. You can allow them creativity to feel good about themselves, to feel heard, to feel like they're engaged, to be a bigger part of it. I want that day one employee to come into a culture, if I'm the owner, to come into the culture where they feel heard from day one.
Yep.
Doesn't mean that you're going to turn the keys over to them, but it means you're respecting them and you're honoring them and you're treating them the way you need to treat them to get the most out of them. You can either be right or you can have things right. Right. And that applies to personal relationships, to business culture. It doesn't matter what it is. So if your whole goal is for you to always be right, well, enjoy that. You'll always be right, and you'll always be hiring people, and you'll always have turnover, and you'll always have a culture that's not what it could be, because you're more focused on you than you are your organization.
You're creating a negative culture, right?
100%.
And we all know, and people have told me this a lot in my life, Dave, you're always a half full guy.
Yeah.
Or you try to be. And
it's better than the alternative.
Right. But there's a reason behind that. If you walk around life looking at things that are half full, you emanate positivity to people. If you're finding solutions, you're looking past the hard stuff, going, how do we get to yes? You need to develop a culture where you're letting people succeed. You're encouraging, you're cheerleading them, and you're positive about what they're doing. Even when they screw up, you're positive.
Yep.
Hey, you made a mistake, but the good news is, what all did you learn?
Exactly.
Right? What can we do different next time to be better? Because when you do that, you are going to build a team that's excited to be there and know it's okay to fall down and own it and fix it.
This is one of the things, and there's a real art to doing this. And I get it right about 50% of the time. I mean, and I know this, but I'll take those odds.
That's a win. Yeah.
What I'm about to say, I've said this as parents, our job is to let our kids go out and experience life and fall down and struggle. We're there to make sure they don't screw up so bad they can't recover. And I think that's very true within organizations.
Yep.
As leaders, there's going to be times where we kind of go, okay, this isn't going to end up the way they want it to, the way they think it's going to, but it's all a calculated risk,
Mm-hmm.
right? So as a leader, you're sitting there going, okay, what's the real pain? What's the real outcome going to be to my business? Is it going to really harm my business? Or is this going to be an opportunity for a valuable employee who's working hard, who's trying to do more, to learn? There's going to be times where you're going to need to let them fail. That's not easy. But there are times when you're going to need to let them do that, because that's the greatest teacher in life.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because when we give people leadership opportunities when they're young, they still want to be one of the boys, one of the girls.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
They don't understand that their role has changed. And we see it in the military. You see it all the time, because you got a young captain, now a flight commander,
or a young NCO,
that's a flight chief. And he or she's still wanting to go out and have a good time, which is okay in a responsible fashion. Those are opportunities for them to grow. And I promise you, there are very few young people that don't struggle with that.
Now, I'm going to tell you this isn't always age related, because of what we've done in business across all types of business over the years. We've created codependent 50-year-olds to where they've never been given an opportunity to develop. They've never been given an opportunity to get better. And now 25 years goes by, they're exactly where they were when they were 25. So this isn't just an age problem. This shows the importance of having the right culture, because you can absolutely handicap somebody for the rest of their professional life
because you failed to develop them when they were at the age to be developed. Right.
Correct.
And that's why I focus here, but Phil's right, man. If you don't have that input at the right time in your life,
it's going to continue.
You can never grow out of it. You always want to be part of the boys. I've got friends to this day that still go out partying all the time, that are in their 60s. And I'm just like, I don't know how you do that.
I don't have the energy for that.
I'm in bed by 9 o'clock. I'm not gonna lie.
But the other thing too, Dave, it's not just that. It's not just those, and that's very true. It's not just the going out and doing things you shouldn't be doing when you're in your 50s. But it's also, because truth is, those are habits that you probably shouldn't be doing in your 40s, your 30s. I mean, there's a window for all that. It's called college. But I think that there's the professional damage it does, to where that person who has a lot of natural ability, but nobody's ever invested in them enough to challenge them in areas that they need to get better, that's ever given them a clear path on how to get better. We've got a client that has engaged us. We do executive coaching and work with a lot of different stuff within organizations, but this is a legacy business. And we're going to be doing coaching with somebody that's very important to this person that's came into the business. That's a family member. And, those are tough ones.
It is tough.
Those are tough ones, because they're looked at completely different than one of their peers that isn't part of the family who owns the business.
You talk about family businesses. That's a challenge for every family business. Most family businesses, in the succession planning piece, we had a family business when I was young. You were held to a different standard. And if you don't 100%. Come in at the ground and work your way into the business like you should, it can cause some challenges if you're a jackwagon.
Well, and even if you're not, let's say you're a squared away person, it can really affect how you're perceived in the organization. That will stay with you for years and years and years.
I don't want to get political, but think about the Trump family. That family is a very, very affluent family. They've done very, very well. Obviously, you may or may not like them. That's okay too. But the point is that what kind of challenge do you think they deal with all the media pressure and all the things that are said in their organizations and all the? There are challenges there, and by all accounts, it appears that they got very good education. They've tried to train themselves away. They've done some stupid things. Obviously, we all have, but that's a great example to look at as a case study of how to build a family business and bring people in, good and bad. Good and bad,
right? And that's the thing. I don't think any of those, when they graduated college, I think every one of them was an executive VP the day after they graduated.
Yep.
Because you can't have a Trump running around without a big title.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So the good and bad. Now, and I'm just going to tell you. Is it Ivanka? Is that the daughter?
Yes.
So sharp. I mean, and I look at her as the case because I think she's the sharpest out of all those kids personally. I don't know them personally, but
we don't hang out.
Right. So from what I've observed, though, she comes across as the sharpest of all the kids. And you know, you can see her at times cringe because she knows. But the dynamic of that, trying to balance dad and professional and public, image and how people are perceived. I mean, those kids all, whether you agree or disagree, they're all running uphill. They're all going to run uphill the rest of their lives because this larger than life deal that with the day they graduated college, they were put in a corner office and called an executive VP. You know, so think about it. You got a 30-year employee, which Trump has a lot of those, sitting there.
Close friends in a lot of cases.
Oh, yeah. They've toiled for years to get to be a senior VP or a VP, and Donald Jr. is an executive VP at age 23. So I don't necessarily think, like we were talking about our own kids. Yeah. You know, and your son is a wonderful kid, great kid, very smart, all those good things, checks all the boxes. You know, you make him work while he's going to college because that helps him establish baselines and work ethic and understanding and just all the stuff.
I'm tired of writing checks.
Well, there might be that too, but the point is you can write the checks and you're still
absolutely, and
you're still requiring him to go out and do things that he doesn't really have to do, but it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, and I would encourage you. Look at the Walton family from Walmart. Yep. Look at affluent families that have grown huge businesses and the challenges they have faced. Those stories are out there. And learn the lessons from people that are bigger than you. Ford's another one. Matt brought it. Hey, Matt, good to see you, man. Ford is another family dynasty, and they went through some rough times along the way in the 90s and early 2000s. Ford was struggling. Their stock value decreased exponentially because of poor management decisions by family leadership.
Yeah. And I think, of course, I love that movie, Ford Ferrari. I think it's
Ford
called.
versus Ferrari. Yeah, that's a good movie.
And, to me, that scene where he puts him in the car when they're still developing it, the one who was whatever Ford it was that was running at that time, I think it would have been the grandfather of the grandson of Henry. Yeah, the founder. So, yeah. And he breaks down crying. A lot of people, I think, thought he was crying because he was scared. No, he was crying because he was so emotional about
the program
and what his grandfather would have thought, what his dad would have thought, all these things. And I think, great businesses and those legacy businesses, as we say, there's a passion passed down generation to generation. You can't fake passion at all. You can't fake it. You're either passionate about it or you're not. You can fake a lot of things in the business world. We've all know people that do it, but you cannot fake a passion for the work you're doing. And I think that's where a lot of these, again, leadership, you never have to stop. You never get to stop making tough decisions if you're sitting in the big chair, right? And I think that one of the toughest decisions for legacy owners, especially founders, is that recognizing whether or not the next generation, number one, wants to do it. Number two, is capable of doing it, right? I think there's a lot of assumptions made out there. And that's one of the reasons why very few businesses make it to the second generation, and extreme few businesses, privately held businesses, make it to the third.
Well, you brought up a good point, and this just isn't about legacy ownership. This is about your employees as well, right? Because if you're trying to be a good leader and you're trying to mentor and grow, before you offer somebody a position, you need to know if they want to do that job.
Correct.
Right? Because you may perceive they do and they don't. So this good leadership really improves communication, because you know where your people want to be, you understand their goals and who they are. And when you do that and you take them the direction they want to go in your organization, they have more passion about what they do.
Yep.
They're happy at work and they know that they're contributing in the role they want to contribute in.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, and that's that you got to start with, are people excited and passionate about the work? I mean, to me, regardless of the relationship, like Dave said, it doesn't matter. Are they happy and passionate about the work? If they are, great things happen typically, right? Whether that's a family member or a long-term employee. What's that say?
You're talking about, tough times create tough people, soft times create soft people.
Oh yeah.
How the younger generation doesn't have to work as hard because they have a big load of cash. That's a true statement.
Yep.
We're experiencing it now as a country. Welcome to 200 years as a republic, because that's usually, this is the cycle we
Kind of the
take.
point. Yeah. Kind of the time frame.
Kind of happens.
Yeah.
So we got to work through that now as a country and get back on track. But it's true. The best way to avoid that is to develop people properly and make them go through the right process to get to the next level.
Yeah, 100%. Talking about, the tough people and soft and all this stuff. You can't see this, but I'm on crutches and have a leg thing on, whatever that's called, because I get to have a little surgery down the road here.
Knee replacement.
Yeah, it's great. Great getting old. But I was talking to one of my sons last night, and they didn't know about everything that led up to this. And so I'm walking them through that. And my daughter-in-law says, well, Pop, what happened? And I told her, she goes, well, what did you do? And Jake, my son, goes, he tried to walk it off. I promise you. He tried to walk it off for 2 or 3 days. And everybody started laughing because that was my first, as you know. You got something bad, you just walk it off.
I'm not going to the doctor.
Not going to the doctor. So I finally went when I literally could not. My leg doesn't work anymore.
He was crawling out of a Mexican restaurant yesterday, just so you guys know. I had to carry him to his car. It was
pretty bad. But it is that mindset that people have. And I'm not saying that's a good mindset. I'm just saying it was a mindset. Yeah. And I think, we got to be real, but that's also part of leadership, is you got to understand where people are coming from. What's their baseline? What's their starting point? Again, you can be right or you can have things right. And, that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Well, the big topic today was leadership and the importance of mentoring and growing your team at the right pace, the right level. Hopefully you took some good things away from this. The big thing is communicate, understand, develop. If you do those 3 things as an organizational leader, you're going to do great.
Yeah. And I want to say this to Matt, my lifelong friend. I'm proud of Matt. He started a Facebook. He's had it for a while, but he's Get Matt Fit.
Oh, nice.
And he's working his tail off. And I want to tell you, brother, the last picture I saw, you got some guns. Keep going. I'm proud of you. I really am. I'm proud of you. I know it's not easy. Matt's like I said, a dear friend, lifelong friend. Have nothing but love and respect for Matt, and I'm proud of you. So keep doing what you're doing, brother.
Keep kicking butt, Matt. We're proud of you, man. With that, EXSIN Live, Dave and Phil, we are out of here. Well, I think we're out of here. We're trying to get out of here.